Good day to you children once again, and welcome to part 2 of the poem An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. Today we'll take up the second stanza of the poem for analysis and understanding, so let's give it a good read. On sour cream walls, donations. Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn, civilized dawn riding all cities, belt flowery Tyrolese valley, open-handed map, awarding the world its world, and yet for these children, these windows not this map their world, where all the futures painted with a fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. I'm sorry, there seems to be a repetition. Sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from riverscapes and stars of words. Now, as I had said yesterday, when we read in the first stanza about the phrase dim classroom, at the back of the dim classroom, we talked about the condition of the classroom. So in the second stanza, poet takes us through the description of what the classroom looks like. So let's try to understand what the poet is trying to tell us. The very beginning of the stanza, we're told that the colors of the wall is sour cream. Now, I'm given to understand that sour cream is something which is appreciated and eaten, but it is usually when the milk cream which has been taken out of the milk, extracted from the milk, goes bad. So it's called sour cream. So the color of the walls is sour cream. Now, sour cream color is slightly off-white or pale yellow in color. That is an indication that the cream has gone bad. So let's see, sour cream is a color, but sour cream is also something which has gone bad. So it is telling us the condition. So the poet is using something associated with something that has gone bad. So when cream goes bad, it's called sour cream. The color changes, the taste becomes foul. So here the poet is using something associated with going bad. So this will become, in my opinion, metonymy. So here we will write the figures of speech. Number 1 will be metonymy. Metonymy, when we use a symbol associated with something to talk about it. Here, sour cream is bad quality, something which has gone bad is no longer in good condition. So, sour cream becomes metonymy. So, the colors on the wall is faded, it's become pale, it's become off-whitish. So, it tells us that the classroom is in a state of repair. Then, there are donations on the walls. So the walls are there, pale yellow in color, off-white in color, definitely in need of repair and fresh color. And there are donations on those walls. What are those donations? There's Shakespeare's head. Now Shakespeare's head doesn't mean that Shakespeare's head has been pinned to the wall. It simply means that there is a bust of Shakespeare or a portrait of Shakespeare which is right up to his shoulder and his head. So Shakespeare bust has been painted, or a painting of or a photograph has been put up on the wall. So Shakespeare's head is there, and that is number 1. This is donation number 1, right? Then there's something else, another painting or a picture, and that is cloudless at dawn, civilized dome riding all cities. Now let's see. Cloudless at dawn. Why is it important? We'll come to it. Then we say civilized dome, riding all cities. Let me underline this and let me mark the alliteration. So you see an alliteration, which is the 3 circled C's. Then cloudless. Cloudless talks about clarity. when I came across this line, I began to think, I began to talk to myself, and I thought, cloudless at dawn. So the picture that is there is of something, it's a dome. Dome is a building, it's a structure of a building, and a piece of architecture. You know, it's like this, a dome. Some sort of a building, right? So dome is some sort of an architectural structure which is atop a building. You would have seen a lot of mosques and a lot of forts which have a dome-like structure. The dome of Taj Mahal is pretty famous. So cloudless at dawn, civilized dome, riding all cities. Now, what could be that dome, a structure which has been described as cloudless, and it is civilized? Now you see, civilization being attributed to an architectural piece is not very straightforward. It simply cannot be. A dome is a fixed piece of architecture, and if even a single brick is out of place, the dome would not hold, it would crumble down. So what is civilized about a dome except that it is a geometric figure, a configuration? So, and then this dome is being called that it is riding all cities. So how can a dome ride all cities? But then it occurred to me that when you're riding something, you are on top of it. So what the poet is trying to tell us, that this dome was on top of all other cities. Now, if you're on top, the rest of things are below you. When things are below you, you can look down upon them. You are sort of ruling over them. It's like when you're on your bike, when you're riding your bicycle or a motorbike, then you're in control. So this dome was controlling all cities. And then I started to think, what is that structure? Now this has to be something very powerful, because if something's riding and ruling over all the other cities, it has to be pretty prominent and powerful. And then it occurred to me that according to the Western thought, when the spread of Christianity began through Rome, early after the Byzantine Empire and after the setting up of the Christianity after Jesus was long gone, then the famous Christian crusades started to happen, and how the Christians, they started taking up new lands. And then this belief came that wherever they went and spread the word of their Lord Jesus Christ, they civilized the people. Now that of course came very late into light that it was not that they who spread the civilization. There were other civilizations, it's just that they did not realize it then, and they thought everyone else was barbarous and uncivilized and inhuman in their manner of doing things. So they thought that they are the ones who are spreading civilization. But what was it? This is one single structure to which all the cities are reporting. And then it occurred to me that this is something out of Christianity. So it is referring to a structure which could probably be the seat of power of Christianity. Something where the Roman Catholic Church has its headquarters. The St. Peter's Basilica, say for example, in the Vatican. So this is a direct reference to Christianity. Civilization being spread with the spread of religion. So this entire line is suggesting that there is a picture of a religious building. So we're talking about a religious building, and in that case this particular part, civilized dome riding all cities, becomes an illusion because it is a reference to Christianity. So this is Allusion, illusion. Illusion is when we refer to a text outside the poem or to another poem, to something mythological, mythical or religious text other than the poem itself. So allusion basically means to allude to refer to something. So here this line is referring to Christianity. Then the first part of the line, cloudless at dawn. Dawn is a new beginning. Let me keep writing here. Dawn means a new beginning. Cloudless means without doubt, because without doubt. So basically the line is suggesting that wherever there is religion, there will be clarity and a new beginning can be made. So this building is a suggestion of religion in the classroom, just like Shakespeare's head. Shakespeare refers to literature. So this is literature. This is religion. This is consequence of religion. A new beginning without doubt. Cloudless, civilized and cities suggests an alliteration. Cloudless will be metaphor. Metaphor for clarity, without doubt, or let me also write down clarity. So, next what we see is another painting or a photograph of a valley. What kind of a valley is this? It is belt, flowery, Tyrolese valley. Belt, flowery, Tyrolese valley. So this is an attempt by the poet to introduce natural beauty or nature's beauty. Nature's beauty is being described by these words. So it's a picture of the Tyrol Valley. Tyrol Valley is in the Austrian Alps, and during the spring season the entire valley is covered with as far as your eye can see with spring blossoms, and it's a beautiful sweet smelling wonderful sight to behold. It is in fact one of the natural wonders that still occurs if you are in Europe, and if you happen to be in Austria in the Alps in springs, you have one place to visit. Then there is an open-handed map. So what do we have here? This is number 3. 3 donations. Open-handed map is number 4. Donation number 4. So, and then there is an open-handed map. A map of the world which has been put up to for the reference of the students. Now, what are these 4 things trying to do? Open-handed map brings the world, the geographical world. It brings in the geographical world. Right? So, we have literature, Shakespeare's head. We have a picture of a religious building trying to bring clarity, suggesting that religion brings clarity and a new beginning. Then there is nature's beauty and a geographical world being depicted in the classroom. What are these 4 things trying to do? They are trying to bring into the world outside this slum. Says all these 4 things, they are awarding the world its world. Now here we see repetition. This is number 4, repetition. So we'll write here number 4, repetition. Awarding the world its world. So all these 4 things, Shakespeare trying to introduce literature to the slum. Then there is religion bringing in clarity. There is nature's beauty, and a map which is trying to show the world which this slum children have no access to as of now. So all these things are trying to award the world its world. Now the world here stands for slum. So poet is very clearly telling us that the world here within the slum is its own world, and it is different from the world outside world. This is the world outside the slum, and this is the slum itself. So in one stroke, in half a line, the poet has clearly demarcated and told us that the world in the slum is different from the world outside the slum. These two worlds exist, and this of course again is a reiteration of the theme of the poem, talking about the class divide in the society. And yet for these children, and then he goes on to tell us, but for these children, despite the attempt of these 4 donations which are there in the classroom to try to introduce the world outside the slum into the slum classroom, yet for these children, these windows, the classroom windows, not this map, their world. So he says, for these children, the view outside the windows, what is visible to these children outside the classroom window is the world that they know. The map is not their world. What he's trying to say is, the world that the map is showing, the open-ended map, the geographical world that is trying to give and introduce to these children, is not the world that these children are used to. They are used to what is visible out of their windows. And what is visible? The squalor and the filth of their slum is what is visible to these children. Because these children do not have access to the world which is depicted in the map, therefore their world is limited to the view from their own windows. Here we see alliteration of W. Windows and world, where all their features painted with a fog. And in the world that these children live in, the slum world, what is the condition? The future is painted with fog. We see alliteration of F now. In this slum, the future is painted with fog. Now fog, although there is alliteration of F, there is also a metaphor in fog. Fog means lack of clarity. So, lack of clarity, haziness, uncertainty. So, fog depicts the haziness, the lack of clarity, the uncertainty of the future of these children. So their future is painted with uncertainty. The future of the children is definitely not decided, it is uncertain. And then he's telling us another location hint about the slum, where the slum might be located. So he says, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. A narrow street sealed in with a lead sky. Now lead, again children, it is going to be a metaphor for grey color, grey is color of doom or death, decay, end. So let's put it 3 here. Lead is a metaphor and is a suggestion that the sky is grey. The street which leads to the slum is covered in grey skies. Now grey skies, lead is a grey colored metal, and lead of course is poisonous, and then grey color suggests doom and death. It is a sad color. So even the skies are sad for the slum. The skies, they spell the doom for the people living in that slum. And it is in a more modern interpretation, it is a hint that the slum is located in a place which has got a lot of pollution. Therefore, the skies are of grey in color because of all the smoke. So we can probably see like this is some sort of an industrial town. And again, the reiteration of the first line, far, far. So this place is far from rivers. It is nowhere near deltas, nowhere near river systems, nowhere near capes. Capes are the land's ends, like the Cape of Good Hope, the tip of South Africa, or Cape Comorin, what in Hindi is known as Kanyakumari, the land's end. That's where the Indian peninsula basically ends. So the capes and the rivers, it's far from these places. The places where a person can go and then from there on go on, explore new territories, new avenues and opportunities to grow and move around. So these children are far from the opportunities which these places present, and they're definitely away from stars of words. Stars of words again is a metaphor for education, for places of education or centers of learning. Stars of words, the places which champion learning. This is again a metaphor and it stands for education. Educational institutions. So these children are removed or far from education institutions, open spaces of rivers and capes, and have no new opportunities. They are sealed in a narrow street in an industrial town which is polluted. Their future is uncertain and hazy, and these children do not relate to the physical map of the world which has been put up in the world. Instead, in their classroom, instead the children relate more easily to the view outside their windows, which is what they're used to, the view of the slum. And the four donations which have been put up on the wall, all are actually pretty useless to these children, because even though they are valiantly, these four donations are very valiantly trying to bring in the outside world, an example or a sight of the world outside the slum to these children, but because of their limited view of the world, which is limited to the slum outside the windows, the children have nothing to do with these four donations, which are talking about literature, which are talking about religion, the nature's beauty, and the geographical physical world presented by the map. The class, of course, is in need of state of repair, and there are some donations which are, and this is what basically completes the description of the classroom which has been given by the poet. And this is all for today. Another short video coming up in the next 24 hours, which I'll be putting up on my channel. So please, children, do go through this, look into your book, complete your notes, make sure you mark all the poetic devices as indicated, write down the words and meanings, and try to understand this. Because tomorrow when we'll take up the next stanza, we'll quickly give a recap to this one and then move on to the next stanza, which will talk about how the slum life has affected and how the children are affected by it, what is the condition in which they're living, their living conditions, and how does this all affect the poet. In fact, poet towards the end of the next stanza becomes pretty aggressive and frustrated, and it is expostulated in a very harsh, in a very direct, and a very scathing manner by the poet. So much so for today's lecture. Please do subscribe to the channel, like the video, and do click on the bell icon so that you're notified every time a new video is put up. Thank you and have a wonderful day.